Here's how to trap white's bishop in just 11 moves. The game starts with the López opening. We play a6 to kick away the bishop and d6 to put more protection on the e5 pawn. This is the modern Steinitz defense. Now if white challenges the center with d4, we play b5, kicking the bishop further away. We capture the pawn with the knight. After the trade of knights, if white recaptures the pawn immediately with the queen, he is in big trouble. We play c5, threatening the queen and intending to trap the bishop with c6. White can try to attack our rook. However, we can just play bishop e6, attacking the queen and simultaneously protecting the rook with our queen. White can give a check, but we just block with the bishop and force the queen to move again. Now we can finally trap the bishop. This is the Noah's Ark trap. White's best bet is to get 2 pawns for the bishop, which however isn't enough, and black enjoys a winning advantage. For more chess tips, make sure to follow Chess Knows. Here's how to win black's piece in just 7 moves. The game starts with the queen's gambit opening. Black accepts the gambit. We play e3 to open up our bishop so that we can recapture the pawn. A good move here for black is simply to develop the knight. However, a lot of beginners play b5 trying to hold on to the extra pawn, which is already a bad move. We immediately challenge the pawn with a4. Black plays c6 thinking that he will be up a pawn. If black plays a6 after we take the pawn, black cannot take back due to the unprotected rook. After c6, we take the pawn. If black recaptures the pawn back, he is in big trouble. Black has seriously weakened the h1 to a8 diagonal, which we can exploit with the move queen to f3. There is no way for black to protect the rook. Black has to give up either the knight or the bishop in order to not lose the rook, and white ends up with an extra piece and a winning advantage. For more chess tips, make sure to follow Chess Knows. In this position, white has a forced mate in 3 moves. Can you find the checkmate? White starts with the knight sacrifice, knight d7 check to open up the e file for the rook. After black captures the knight, white sacrifices the rook. Black has to take, and now white finishes the game with rook g8, checkmate. Notice how the black's own rook blocks the king from escaping. For more chess puzzles, make sure to follow Chess Knows. In this position, white has a nice mate in 2 moves. Can you find it? White can play the nice rook sacrifice, rook h5, creating a mating battery with the queen. There is no way to protect the h7 pawn, therefore black takes the rook. Now white finishes the game with queen f6 checkmate since the knight covers the g8 square. Did you see it? For more interesting chess puzzles, follow Chess Knows. Here is how to win white's bishop in just 6 moves. The game starts with the queen's pawn opening. We develop our knight and white plays the London system. We immediately challenge white's center pawn with c5. White develops his knight. We take the pawn. Now if white recaptures with the knight, he is in danger. We play e5, forking the bishop and the knight. White takes the free pawn. Finally, we can win the bishop by playing queen a5 check, forking the king and the bishop. After the check is blocked, we pick up the bishop and have a winning advantage. Always keep this queen check in mind. For more chess tips and tricks, make sure to follow Chess Knows. Can you solve this master-level chess puzzle? White has a spectacular forced mate in 3 moves, starting with the bishop sacrifice. Bishop f6 check, clearing the 5th rank and the g file for the rooks. Black has no other option than to take the bishop. Now white plays the brilliant queen sacrifice. Queen takes h7 check, getting rid of the black king's only protection. Again, black has to take, and now white finishes the game with rook h5, a ladder mate. Did you see this incredible combination? For more amazing chess puzzle, make sure to follow Chess Knows. Checkmate your opponent with a bishop in just 10 moves. The game starts with the Italian game. Black develops the knight to f6, and we play the fried liver attack, attacking f7 with our bishop and knight. Black plays d5 to stop the bishop from attacking the f7 pawn. We take the pawn. The best move here is to attack our bishop with knight a5. However, black recaptures the pawn with his knight, which is a mistake. We can sacrifice the knight with knight takes f7, forking the black queen and rook, therefore black has to take with the king. Now we play queen to f3 check, forking the black king and knight since it is already attacked with the bishop. Black's best move is to go to e6 with the king to protect his knight. However, if black is scared of going to the center with the king and tries to hide on g8, he is about to get an unpleasant surprise. We take the knight with the queen with a check. Checkmate is now unavoidable. The king has no free squares. After black exchanges, the queen's his last move is to block the bishop check by giving up his own bishop, but we simply take it with a nice bishop checkmate and 100% accuracy win. For more chess tips and tricks, make sure to follow Chess Knows. White to move, mate in 2. Can you find the 2 moves that lead to a forced checkmate? It is the queen sacrifice, queen h6 check. After black takes the queen, we got his king to the h6 square and we can finish the game with bishop takes f8, checkmate. All of the black king's escape squares are covered. For more interesting chess puzzles, make sure to follow Chess Knows. Can you find the magical winning combination from the Harry Potter chess game? Harry is the bishop on a3, Ron is the knight on g5, and Hermione is the rook on f8. Black has lost his queen, but he has a strong attack against the white king. Black's immediate threat is knight h3 mate, so white plays queen takes d3, preventing knight h3 and attacking Harry on a3. Now black can sacrifice the rook with rook c3, attacking the white queen but most importantly freeing the c5 square for the Harry bishop. After the white queen captures the rook, black can force a checkmate starting with another sacrifice, knight h3 check. The white king has no move, therefore white has to take Ron Weasley. Now black plays bishop c5 check. The only move for white is to step in the check with the queen. Harry Potter finishes the game by taking the queen. Checkmate. There was a faster mate possible, starting with the immediate bishop c5 check, a bishop sacrifice, followed by knight h3 checkmate. This, however, would lose the Harry Potter bishop, and Harry wouldn't be able to defeat Voldemort. For more interesting chess games, make sure to follow Chess Knows. Here is how to win your opponent's queen in just 10 moves. The game starts with the Philidor Defense. We play d4 to immediately strike in the center. Black pins our knight with his bishop. Now we take the central e5 pawn. Black cannot recapture the pawn immediately because we would win the pawn after exchanging the queens. Therefore, black takes our knight. We don't want to ruin our pawn structure and we want to start an attack, so we take with the queen. Black recaptures the pawn. Now we bring out our bishop to c4 and threaten mate on f7. Black develops his knight and stops the queen from attacking the vulnerable f7 pawn. We slide our queen to the other side and create a battery attacking both the f7 and also the b7 pawn. Black is already in trouble. Black plays queen to d7, protecting the f7 pawn. We take the b7 pawn and attack the rook. Now black plays queen c6, thinking that he saved his rook, but he is about to get a surprise. We play bishop b5, winning black's queen. The queen is pinned to the king, so black cannot take our queen, which protects the bishop. Black gives up the queen for the bishop, and we have a winning advantage. Keep in mind that these are the most played moves after bishop g4. For more chess tips and tricks, make sure to follow Chess Knows. These are all of the 20 moves white can start the game with: Ware opening, Polish opening, English opening, Queen's pawn opening, King's pawn opening, Bird's opening, Grob opening, Kadas opening, Anderson opening, Nimzowitsch-Larsen attack, Saragossa opening, Mises opening, Vant Kreuz opening, Barnes opening, King's Fianchetto opening, Clemens opening, Sodium attack, Van Geet opening, Ritai opening, Amar opening. Which one is your favorite? For more chess knowledge, make sure to follow Chess Knows. This is how to win black's queen in just 11 moves. Keep in mind that these are all the most played moves. The game starts with the open Sicilian defense. Black develops the knight and attacks our pawn. We ignore the threat and develop our bishop to a nice diagonal to c4. Black takes the free pawn. We immediately bring out the queen and attack the vulnerable f7 pawn. Black plays pawn to e6, stopping the threat. Now we give a check with the bishop. Black blocks the check with his bishop. We play the unexpected capture. Knight takes e6, attacking black's queen and exploiting the fact that both the bishop and the pawn are pinned to the black king. Black gives a check with his queen and double attacks our bishop. We block the check with our dark squared bishop and attack the black queen. If black takes our bishop, we play knight c7, check forking the black king and queen. Therefore, black takes our other bishop with the knight. Now we can win the black queen by playing the discovered attack. Bishop takes d7 check. After black takes our bishop, we win black's queen and have a winning advantage. For more chess tips and tricks, make sure to follow Chess Knows. These are all of the 20 moves black can respond to e4, the king's pawn opening, Goldsmith defense, Borg defense, Duras Gambit, Double King's Pawn Opening, Scandinavian Defense, Sicilian Defense, B5, Ware Defense, Car Defense, Modern Defense, Barnes Defense, French Defense, Perk Defense, Caro-Kann Defense, Owens Defense, St. George Defense, Hippopotamus Defense, Alekhine's Defense, Nc6 Defense, Lemming Defense. For more epic chess knowledge, make sure to follow Chessnos. These are all of the 20 moves black can respond to d4, the queen's pawn opening. h5, Borg Defense, Dutch Defense, England Gambit, d5, Old Benoni Defense, Polish Defense, a5, h6, Modern Defense, f6, Horwitz Defense, d6, c6, English Defense, St. George Defense, knight h6, Indian Game, Mechanis Defense, Australian Defense. Which one is your favorite? For more epic chess knowledge, make sure to follow Chessnos. If you think there are no weapons in chess, you are wrong. This is the Alekhine's gun. White moves the queen under the two rooks, creating the deadly Alekhine's gun, which threatens to win material on the c-file. Black adds a defender to the vulnerable c6 knight. Now, white retreats the bishop to prepare the push of the b-pawn, which would win material. Black sacrifices their own b-pawn to get some time to come with the king and help defend the c7 rook, allowing the knight to jump away after the pawn push. However, the legendary world chess champion Alexander Alekhine simply makes quiet waiting moves until his opponent Aaron Nimzowitsch runs out of moves and is forced to resign the game due to zugzwang, a position where any of the next moves would result in losing material and the game. For more epic chess tactics, be sure to follow Chessnos. These are all of the 20 moves black can respond to c4, the English opening, h5, Myers Defense, Anglo-Dutch Defense, King's English Variation, Anglo-Scandinavian Defense, Symmetrical Variation, Danish Gambit, a5, h6, Great Snake Variation, f6, Agincourt Defense, d6, Caro-Kann Defensive System, b6, a6, Knight h6, Anglo-Indian Defense, Anglo-Lithuanian Variation, Knight a6. Which one is your favorite? For more interesting chess opening knowledge, make sure to follow Chessnos. This is how to dominate a chess piece. In this position, the material is equal, but black plays queen to d3, dominating the white knight on c4. Even though it looks like the knight can jump to a lot of squares, it is trapped, and black will win a piece. For more chess tactics, make sure to follow Chessnos. This is how to checkmate with a king and a rook. First, use your rook to put the opponent's king into a box. Then bring your king to help the rook. Using your rook, continue cutting the size of the box. If it's not possible to make the box smaller, simply move your king closer to the enemy king. If you cannot move your king closer to your opponent's king, just place it on another square where it protects the rook. After you get the enemy king to the last file or rank, move the king right in front of your opponent's king to threaten checkmate. However, it is your opponent's move and black can run away from the king. Now you have to move your rook so that the enemy king cannot run further away and has to go back in front of your king. Checkmate. For more chess checkmate knowledge, make sure to follow Chessnos. These are all of the 20 moves black can respond to knight f3, the Reti opening. h5, Herstrom Gambit, Dutch Variation, Ross Gambit, d5, Sicilian Invitation, Polish Defense, Ware Defense, Basman Defense, Kingside Fianchetto Variation, Arctic Defense, Queen's Gambit Invitation, Perk Invitation, Slav Invitation, Queenside Fianchetto Variation, St. George Defense, Knight h6, Knight f6, Black Mustang Defense, Knight a6. Which one is your favorite? For more epic chess opening knowledge, make sure to follow Chessnos. This is the most common tactic in chess, fork. In this position, white can win a piece by playing the fork, queen to d4, threatening to checkmate the black king on g7 with the queen and bishop battery, and to capture the unprotected knight on b6. Black cannot defend against both of the threats at the same time. In this position, white can use a knight fork to win material. White takes the black rook with check, temporarily sacrificing the queen. After the king takes the queen, black plays the knight fork, knight e6 check, forking the black king and queen. White wins the queen back and has won a free rook in the process. Is fork your favorite tactic? For more chess tactics, make sure to follow Chessnos. This is how to checkmate with two bishops. This checkmate pattern is rare but can win you a game. Start by marching up with your king and use one of the bishops to cut the space of the enemy king. Then add the second bishop and continue the process. After you get the king to the last file or rank, use waiting moves and opposition to get the enemy king into one of the corners. Be extremely careful to not stalemate your opponent. Once you get the enemy king into the corner again, use a waiting move to set up the checkmate. Checkmate. Save this video and watch it multiple times to remember this pattern. For more chess checkmate patterns, make sure to follow Chess Knows. These are the variations black can play against b3, the Nimzowitsch-Larsen attack, Dutch variation, modern variation, classical variation, English variation, Polish variation, symmetrical variation, Indian variation. Which one do you play the most? For more chess opening knowledge, make sure to follow Chess Knows. This is how you can save a lost game using the Perpetual Check. In this position, white is completely lost. Black is up a bishop and will deliver a checkmate on the next move. However, white can play the game-saving check, queen to e8. After the king moves to the only square, white plays the other important check, queen to h5. The king has no option than to go exactly back. White simply continues checking the king until the position is repeated 3 times and the game is drawn. Always look for a perpetual check before giving up. For more chess tactics, make sure to follow Chess Knows. At first sight, it looks like black is up 2 pawns and is winning. However, white can actually checkmate black in 2 moves. Can you see the moves? White plays king to c4. Black has only 1 move, and that is to push the b4 pawn. White takes the pawn and delivers a pawn checkmate. Did you find it? For more chess puzzles, make sure to follow Chess Knows. These are the variations black can play against g3, the king's fianchetto opening. Lasker-Simul special variation, Meyer's defense, Dutch defense, e5, d5, Sicilian invitation, symmetrical variation, Indian defense, knight c6. Which one do you prefer? For more chess opening knowledge, make sure to follow Chess Knows. This is how to save a lost game thanks to the stalemate. In this position, white is down a whole rook and 3 pawns. It looks like white is completely lost. However, white can draw the game immediately by playing queen to g7 check. The king has to take. Stalemate. The game is drawn because white has no legal move due to black's unfortunate placement of the queen and rook. Always look for a stalemate before giving up. For more chess tips and tricks, make sure to follow Chess Knows. How do we promote the pawn? We set up a common endgame tactic by playing rook to a8, intending to promote the pawn. After the rook takes the pawn, we play the skewer, rook to a7 check. The king moves, and we win the rook and the game. Remember this tactic. For more chess endgame tips, make sure to follow Chess Knows. These are the openings white can play after e4, e5, the double king's pawn opening, Vienna game, king's knight variation, Portuguese opening, bishop's opening, tortoise opening, wayward queen attack, Napoleon attack, the whale variation, center game, king's gambit, Mengarini opening, MacLeod attack, Leonardus variation, king's head opening. Which one is your favorite? For more epic chess knowledge, make sure to follow Chess Knows. White sacrifices the rook. White takes the bishop and gives up the rook. After the king takes the rook, white plays bishop c3 check, a skewer, winning black's rook back. After the king moves out of the check, white takes the rook and has won a bishop in the process. Remember to always check for potential sacrifices. For more chess tactics, make sure to follow Chess Knows. This is how to checkmate with a bishop and a knight, the most difficult checkmate. The key is to force the enemy king into one of the corners of the same color as your bishop. If your opponent knows this, he will try to run to the corner of the opposite color. Start by using your king in conjunction with your bishop and knight to force the enemy king to the edge of the board. Try to go forward with your king as much as possible. Then force the king into the corner. Once the enemy king gets into a corner of the opposite color, use your knight to kick it out of it. Perform the W maneuver with your knight to chase the king to the other corner of the same color as your bishop, so you can deliver the checkmate. It is a very long process that requires patience and precision. Be careful to not let the king run away or to stalemate. After you get the king into the right corner, use your knight to trap the king in the corner and your bishop to deliver the checkmate. Checkmate! Watch this video multiple times and practice this checkmate pattern daily to master it. If you want to dominate the game, make sure to follow Chess. This is every variation white can play after e4 c5, the Sicilian defense. Kronberger variation, closed variation, knight f3, brick variation, Bowdler attack, slow variation, Amazon attack, King David's opening, Myers attack, wing gambit, Staunton-Cochrane variation, Smith-Mora gambit, McDonnell attack, Grob variation, Myers attack with h4, Mengarini variation, Snyder variation, Alekhine variation, d3, Lasker-Dunn attack. Which one is your favorite? For more epic chess opening knowledge, make sure to follow Chess. This is how to exploit your opponent's weak back rank. Black can exploit white's weak back rank by playing knight e2 check, forking the white king and queen. If white takes the knight, now there is no defender of the back rank, and black delivers a back rank mate. Therefore, white has to move with the king and give up the queen, resulting in a winning position for black. Always look for ways to exploit the weak back rank. For more chess tactics, make sure to follow Chess. Black will promote the pawn to a queen, but white has a beautiful sequence of moves to save the game. Only a genius can find it. White starts by playing knight to g3, covering the promotion square and sacrificing the knight. Black takes the knight. Now white plays e7, intending to promote the pawn with a check. Black can, however, play bishop d6 check, forking the white king and the pawn. Now it is important to go with the king to a4, as we will see later. Black takes the pawn. Finally, it seems that black will promote the pawn and win the game, but white has one final resource to save the game. Bishop c4. After black makes a queen, white plays the brilliant idea, bishop d5 check, forking the black king and queen. After the queen takes the bishop, white has no legal moves, and the game ends in a draw due to stalemate. Did you find this magnificent sequence of moves? For more chess, endgame studies, make sure to follow Chess. This is every variation white can play after e4 e6, the French defense. Queen's knight variation, bird invitation, Chigorin variation, Banzai-Lyon gambit, Steiner variation, normal variation, Labordonnais variation, Horwitz attack, King's Indian attack, Reti-Spielmann attack. Which one do you play? For more chess opening knowledge, make sure to follow Chess. This is a battery in chess. A battery is a chess tactic in which two or more pieces are lined up on the same file, rank, or diagonal. In this position, white can use the two rooks battery to deliver a back rank checkmate. After black takes the first rook, the second one recaptures the rook and checkmates black. In this position, white checkmates black with a bishop and queen battery. The bishop supports the queen in delivering the checkmate. What type of battery is your favorite? For more chess tactics, make sure to follow Chess. This is how to win with a king and a single pawn against a king. This endgame is essential to learn, and every chess player should know how to win this. To win this type of position, you must go with your king in front of your pawn and take the opposition. After the enemy king moves to a side, advance your king to the other side. Then again, take the opposition. Continue this process until you get your opponent's king to the last rank. Then, advance your pawn and advance your king to the side to make a red carpet for your pawn. Now you can easily promote your pawn and checkmate your opponent to win the game. For more chess endgame knowledge, make sure to follow Chess. This is every variation white can play after e4 c6, the Caro-Kann Defense. Knight c3, knight f3, hillbilly attack, Laban attack, accelerated Panov attack, d4, spike variation, Yui attack, Breyer variation. Which one do you play? For more chess opening knowledge, make sure to follow Chess. This is a skewer in chess. Can you find the winning tactic for white? White plays the nice bishop sacrifice, bishop e5 check, skewering the black king and queen. After black takes the bishop, white plays queen c3 check, another skewer of the black king and queen. After the king moves out of the check, white captures the queen and wins the game. For more chess tactics, make sure to follow Chess. This is the square rule in chess. The square rule is a simple visualization tool that can help you to quickly determine whether a pawn is in time to promote. In this position, it is black to move. We can use the square rule to find out whether the g4 pawn can promote or the black king is fast enough to catch it. We start by drawing a line connecting the pawn to the promotion square. Then, we draw another line to the side of the same length. Now, we just finish the square. If the enemy king can get into the square on the next move, it means the king is in time to catch the pawn. If the enemy king cannot get into the square on the next move, the pawn can promote. Since the king is too far from the square, we can easily win the game. For more chess tips and tricks, make sure to follow Chess Knows. This is every opening white can play after e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6. Rui López opening, Italian game, Taylor opening, three knights opening, Irish gambit, Pachman wing gambit, Dresden opening, Scotch game, Ponziani opening, Konstantinopolski variation. Which one is your favorite? For more chess opening knowledge, make sure to follow Chess Knows. This is a double attack in chess. A double attack occurs when one or more of your pieces pose multiple threats, and your opponent cannot defend against both of them. In this position, it is white's move. Can you find a double attack? White plays knight to f5, simultaneously threatening a checkmate on g7 and a fork on e7. Black must decide whether to lose the queen or get checkmated. Always be on the lookout for double attacks. For more chess tactics, make sure to follow Chess Knows. This is how to draw with a king against a king and a pawn. This endgame is essential to learn, and every chess player should know how to draw this. To draw this type of position, you always have to move your king in front of the enemy king and take the opposition whenever possible. If it's not possible to take the opposition, simply move your king under the pawn. Continue this process until you reach the last rank. Now, if your opponent holds on to the pawn, the game ends in a draw by stalemate. If your opponent decides to move the king away, just take the pawn. For more chess, endgame knowledge, make sure to follow Chess Knows. This is how to crush the fried liver attack. You play d5 to stop the attack and hit the bishop. White takes the pawn. You attack the bishop with your knight. White gives a check. You block with the pawn. Takes. Now if white goes to a4, you attack the knight with h6, and after white retreats with e4. White develops a queen and pins the pawn. You develop a bishop and break the pin. White saves the knight and attacks the c6 pawn. You play queen to d4, forking white's knight and bishop. White takes the c-pawn with check. You take with your knight and white recaptures. Now you play queen c5 to trap the white knight. White tries to protect the knight with the queen. You attack the queen with your bishop. White moves the queen and you pin the knight. Now, you will just win the knight and have a winning advantage. For more useful chess opening theory, make sure to follow Chess Knows. This is a clearance in chess. In this position, black sacrifices the rook. The white king takes the rook. Now, the black queen can slide to h8 and deliver a check. After the white king hides back to g1, black finishes the game with queen to h2. Checkmate. For more epic chess tactics, make sure to follow Chess Knows. This is how to win a 3-on-3 pawn breakthrough. Start by pushing the middle pawn, threatening to take one of the two side pawns and promote. If black takes with the right pawn, push the left pawn, and threaten to take black's middle pawn and promote. After black takes the pawn, just push forward your last pawn and promote. If in the beginning black takes with the left pawn, push the right pawn and use the same principle. For more chess tips and tricks, make sure to follow Chess Knows. This is every opening white can play after d4, d5, Chigorin variation, Zukertort variation, Levitsky attack, accelerated London system, Amazon attack, Queen's gambit, Blackmar gambit, Mason attack, Zurich gambit. Which one is your favorite? For more chess opening knowledge, make sure to follow Chess Knows. This is the impossible chess puzzle. Only a chess genius can solve it. It is white to move and mate in just 2 moves. Can you find the moves? At first look, it might seem that white can sacrifice the queen, and after the black king takes to play rook a8, but the black king can go to e7. Then you might want to play rook a4 to play rook g4, but black can stop it with e4. If you play rook a3 to go to g3, black can promote the pawn to a knight to stop the checkmate. You can try to play a random move and hope that black will take your queen, but black can just move a pawn. Also, bishop takes f7 doesn't work, and queen takes b7 is only a mate in 3. So what is the move then? The correct move is bishop to h1. If you found this move, you are a chess genius. If black takes the queen, we take the rook and checkmate. If black just moves the rook, we take it and checkmate. If black moves the b pawn, queen g2 is checkmate. If black moves the f-pawn, bishop d5 is checkmate. And if black moves the e-pawn, rook g5 is checkmate. Were you able to solve this? Comment down below. For more amazing chess puzzles, make sure to follow Chessnos. This is how you can win black's queen in just 8 moves. You open the game with the queen's gambit. Black accepts the gambit. You push the e-pawn 2 squares forward to take full control of the center. Black develops a knight and attacks the pawn on e4. You push it forward and attack the knight. The knight jumps into the center. You take the c-pawn back with your bishop. Black moves the knight again to attack your bishop. You retreat the bishop under your d-pawn. Now, if black gets greedy and takes the unprotected d4 pawn, you check the black king with your bishop and open up a discovered attack on the unprotected black queen in the middle of the board. Black might think that he can block the check with a knight and protect the queen, but the knight is pinned to the black king, and you can win a free queen. For more chess tips and tricks, make sure to follow Chessnos. This is how you can win black's queen in just 8 moves. You open the game with e4. Black responds with the Caro-Kann Defense. You develop a knight to f3. Black challenges the center with d5. You play the simple d3. After black takes your e-pawn, you don't take back, but you play the weird-looking knight g5 move, intending to recapture the pawn with your knight. Black takes your d-pawn. You recapture the pawn and develop your bishop. Now, if black plays a normal move and develops a knight to f6, you play the brilliant sacrifice. Knight takes f7, forking the black queen and rook. After the black king takes your knight, you play another sacrifice. Bishop g6 check, checking the black king and opening up a discovered attack on the black queen. After black takes your bishop, you win the black queen and have a winning advantage. For more chess tips and tricks, make sure to follow Chessnos. This is how you can crush the Dutch defense in just 7 moves. Over 6,000 players have fallen for this gambit, including players rated over 2,200. First, you play h3, and after black develops a knight to f6, you play g4, challenging the f5 pawn and gambiting a pawn. Takes. Black accepts the gambit and takes the free pawn with the knight. You play queen to d3, targeting the h7 pawn with the queen and the rook on the open h-file. Now, if black retreats the knight back and defends the pawn, you sacrifice the rook. After black takes the rook, you play queen to g6 checkmate. For more chess tips and tricks, make sure to follow Chessnos.